I am lost and do not know where the gods have put me. I fear that I have been abandoned not just from the gods and those I call family, but from death itself. For I do not know why Odin did not value me so to take me along with the rest of my brothers, who now drink so bibliciously in Valhalla. Instead, I am left to wander this cursed land that presents itself with nothing but trees and the occasional fog that consumes the wet ground. I choose to stay on the shore with what remains of my vessel, listening to the crashing of the waves over and over, longing for my wife and children back home. I choose not to eat or drink, for I wish not for life and survival, but for death, which I believe may be the only way to leave this cursed place and never lay my tired eyes upon it again. I am not satisfied with the location of my death and the manner it occurs, but at least my children will never know what really happened, and they can argue for the rest of their lives on how their father was killed. Morbid thoughts, I know, but it will do for the last remaining moments I have on this purposeless area of which the earth has so distastefully brought into existence. It has been a day since I have landed, and aside from the few raindrops that have sneaked past my lips, I have not consumed any food or liquid that will keep me alive. I am growing weaker and weaker by the minute, and am getting happier, for I am venturing that much closer to death. As my eyes are about to shut for what I hope is permanently, I see someone or something lurking in the forest beyond the shore. My eyes are forced open by this sight, for I thought I was the only inhabitant of this God-forsaken place. I have yet to see any living creature, and now I am finally greeted by, as my sight begins to focus, my daughter. I begin to say that it is all in my mind, and I am starting to hallucinate due to the lack of water and food. I shut my eyes, hoping this vision will go away, and I hear a voice call out to me, "Papa." I hear, and my eyelids are lifted again to see she was still there, staring, and then she calls out the same word as before, "Papa." I get up for the first time in what feels like a decade. I walk over, and the image keeps getting clearer and clearer. I keep telling myself that this is not my daughter, but an illusion. My eyes keep telling me otherwise. As I get even closer to where she lies in the dark, gloomy wilderness, her features become much more distinct. And then I gaze upon a sight that disturbs my being to the core of what's left of my beating heart. Under her right eye there lies a birthmark that resembles too closely my daughter's mark. The shape and size are identical, and she also carries her piercing blue eyes and soft fair skin that holds all of her beautiful precious features. When I am finally arm distance away, I say her name in an utter disbelief. She tilts her head and then looks at me with a puzzling look. I say her name again and express how much I've missed her, and my emotions take control of me, and I embrace my daughter, not wanting to let go, for I believe this to be the last time I will see her. Tears begin to run down my dry, dirty face, and then I hear her speak a sentence that fills me with such confusion and sadness that I do not understand. "You're not my papa," she said with such confidence. I let go and look at her face again. She is my daughter. I swear by the gods, she is my daughter. She slips away and runs off into the dark wilderness beyond. I chase after her, leaving the shore and my vessel behind. It does not take me long to get lost in this treacherous land. I could swear I am passing the same trees over and over until I start crying out for her, my daughter. I sink to my knees while tears begin to block my vision. I begin to cry out from the top of my lungs. I bury my head in the muddy, wet ground, clenching my fists. I start to wonder what must I have done to deserve such a fate. It is bad enough that I have to spend my final days in this horrendous, most treacherous place. But to have my own daughter deny my existence and drive me mad, I cannot take it anymore. I grab my damaged axe, which is just sharp enough to end this miserable existence once and for all. As I press the cold steel against my hard, dry wrist, I think of my beautiful children and beloved wife back home. And I did something that I thought I would never do in a place such as this. I smile, thinking of my family and realizing that escape from this accursed land was only a moment away. I take a deep breath and cut deep. I make sure it goes slowly to feel the true pleasure of finally leaving here. I sink down to my knees and look up at the gray, cloudy sky, and then down to the brown, wet ground. My vision begins to fade, and then I begin to feel a hand being placed onto my shoulder. I look over, expecting to see my daughter, but it is not my daughter. It is the hand of an older woman. I try to get a good look at her, but to no avail. The world is done with me, and I am done with it. I fall down face first into the cold, wet ground and drift away into nothingness. Suddenly, I awaken, gasping for air. I find myself submerged underwater. I break through, and I am greeted by the sight of the hell I just tried to escape. I look around and see that I am inside a pond. I make my way back to land, starting to walk over, as I hear a voice of a person speaking to me right up next to my ear. I turn around and see nothing. Suddenly, something begins to emerge from this filthy pond. It is the woman that I saw moments before my death. She resembles a young woman with a very pale but fair skin tone. Her body is of small stature and holds only a torn white gown with an opposing black garment underneath that exposes her shoulders and different parts of her body. She has bright, beautiful blonde hair and a beautiful face that holds her striking blue eyes with dark circles underneath. Her colorless lips are also present and a small pointed nose to finish it off. I am speechless and frozen by her presence. I manage enough courage to ask whom she may be and why I am still here. She tilts her head and gives me a gentle smile. She walks over to me, and I can see her more clearly than ever now. She speaks for the very first time. "You are dead," she says with an almost blissful tone. I demanded her to give me a real answer. She looks up at me and puts her arm on my shoulder. She smiles, but this time it does not look as peaceful and gentle as the one before. This looks more of a devious and mischievous type of smile, almost like she were a child. I feel a blade plunge deep into my stomach. I look down at her in confusion and fear. She pulls the jagged blade out from my flesh, and something catches my eye when I look at the blade. There is no blood upon it. She slits my throat. I fall backward and land in the filthy water of the pond. Again, no blood on the blade. She kneels down over me, and I ask why this is happening. What does it all mean? This is your reality and your home. You cannot die, for you have already died before. You died along with your men when your ship sank during a storm on your way back home. I tell her that this is not possible, and then ask her where my brothers are. Your brothers are in a very familiar place as you are, and are in the same torment you are living right now. I could not believe what I was hearing. If we are all dead, why aren't we in Valhalla right now with our glorious Odin, the Allfather? The young woman said, "The afterlife you dream of does not exist, not for you, not for anyone. It is what you made out of your first life and the emotions you felt during that life." I look around, and when it all finally hits me, I couldn't control myself. I begin to sob like a child, and the woman leans over and lays a kiss upon my forehead and begins to walk back into the pond. I ask her who she is, and she turns her head and bestows upon me a sympathetic smile. She disappears into the pond, and I push myself to the dry land next to the pond and lay there on my back, looking up at a dark, cloudy sky